across the United States, and the smartest people are on our side of the fence. They're not creative. Have you seen Truthland? Oh my gosh, it looks like a 5th grade class project. It's horrible. And they probably spent $1 million on it. You know, Michael put together a video that's better than that, you know, with no budget. So what the hell was I talking about? I was going to give you some more examples. All right, what are they doing with these pads? They're putting all this crushed limestone down. They're filling all these roads. They're trucking tons and tons of stone. Do you think they're really going to take that stone out? Anybody can truck that stone back to the quarry? All right, our forest soils are acidic based, okay? They're acidic soil. You put all this limestone all over the place, and you are going to change the soil. You're going to change everything downstream. You are changing the surface flows. So you put a pad on the side of a hill, and now the water goes like this, hits the pad, and goes over here. You happen to have a property downstream. Now your recharge is not the same. Now your trees are not going to survive the same that had this flow for 50, 60 years. Now it's going over that way. They're not. This is what's going to happen. It's called unintended consequences. It's called ecological cascades. I'll give you another example. You have these corridors all over the place, pipelines, right-of-ways, everything. What that is a vectoring mechanism. That's a transport corridor for biological invasion. You've probably heard of emerald ash borer. You've probably heard of Japanese stiltgrass. These are organisms that are not native to North America that love disturbance. They love disturbance, they love to be transported to that place, and then they outcompete our native plants. And then we have problems with everything, from growing the trees we want to having the critters we want, because we've changed the ecology. We've created a biological invasion. If you wanted to create a roadmap for biological invasion, what you do is you take your beautiful forest that's naturally resistant, which will be there for centuries, and you disturb it, and you cut it up, and you slice it and dice it. And then you create transport mechanisms, because you bring a bunch of guys from Texas and Louisiana and their trucks and all their junk. You bring it back and forth, and you go down to the river, and you go up the mountain, you go down to the river, you go up the mountain. And if you don't think that's going to have long-term consequences throughout your ecology, you're out of your minds. And they know this. But it's insane. I was up last week and I get a call and they say, go see the Loyalsock Creek. This is what I'm telling you. You can't have a dispersed industrialization without having massive consequences. I'm not talking about, that was a real egregious one, the Loyalsock Creek. If you read about it in your Sun Gazette, you probably got the idea a little bit of mud went in the creek. All right, I'm an ecologist. I know what happens when you put dirt in a creek. Okay, a 15-mile plume of dirt is going to smother all the invertebrate ecology at the base of that creek, the base of the food chain, the critters that live under the rocks, under the freestone. It's a freestone stream. You don't put dirt on them and smother them. There was screams for 15 miles up and down that creek, but we didn't have the brains to hear it because we didn't listen to it. But I saw it. I went up there. I pretended I was a fisherman just looking for a good spot. And I went up right up to the limits of disturbance. And these guys, apparently, it looks like they did a wet crossing. They just took the excavator and dug through the creek. And they tell us it's just mud. It's going to settle out. That's the same thing they're telling us with the forest. It's going to grow back. I'm here to tell you, they're lying to you. They are lying to you. They have smothered 15 miles of organisms in the bottom of that creek. And then that fine sediment, if it settles down, it's not cleaned out of the creek, it becomes cement. Those fines get underneath that stone, becomes cement. And then when the water flows, instead of having the same kind of friction on the bottom, it picks up velocity and force because it's smoother now. Because you've got all these fines spread all around the bottom of the creek, which then creates a feedback loop where you start to get erosion because now you've got more force. And then the poor people downstream say, well, the creek never flooded like this before. And it's just mud. It's just mud. This is why I'm angry, because I know you are being lied to. I'm being lied to by that industry rag out of Williamsport. And I'm being lied to, I don't care about that really, because I don't even put that in the bottom of my parakeet cage, because I don't want my parakeet to end up not knowing the English language. My money is going to these guys at the DEP. And the DCNR, now, the guys at the DCNR, I really feel for because they're my people. I understand where they're coming from, and they're scared. The DEP guys, I'm sorry, gentlemen, all right? The Holocaust, and don't use the Holocaust as an example, it's so radical. The Holocaust never would have occurred if there wasn't a guy who just needed a job laying bricks. If there wasn't a guy who strung the fence, who ran the railroad cars, all right?
Oh, I'm just doing my job.
I just needed to provide for my family. Well, I'm sorry, but if you know something you do is morally reprehensible and you do it anyway, you are morally complicit. That's a basic principle.
Amen.
And if these people don't think, they better realize that this is a social groundswell. It's not just you people in this room, it's not Ralston, it's not the Rock Run, it is not Michigan, it is not New York State. You are creating a disenfranchised population that's going to take power back. I see it happening. This is the largest social movement since the Vietnam War. These are people from all walks of life. Yes, we have some long-haired ex-hippies, okay? And all right, I'll deal with it, okay? But this is people from all walks of life that are getting stepped on. And if you don't think this is going to have social repercussions for decades, that is going to pull down the power structure, then you're out of your minds. Because this is what's going to happen. These people stepped on me. These seismic knuckleheads trespassed on my property. Now they have an enemy for life. An enemy for life. And I'm going to do what I can to make sure that everybody else knows the science, knows how they're operating. Every one of their arguments about the jobs, wrap it and shrink wrap it in the American flag, call it a bridge fuel, you can easily knock them out of the water. You won't see it in the Sun Gazette. You won't see it in North Central PA. You certainly won't hear it from these morons in Harrisburg because they just want their golden parachute. But you will see in some places in the country, at least, it may not happen here. We may only get the Rock Run. We may only get the Ryder Park. But you people are part of a larger network, a massive, massive movement of scale, real scale. People in Ireland, South Africa, people in Australia. It is an honor to be associated with you people and to be associated with them. So you're not alone. Use that internet. It is the great equalizer, and I thank you for the opportunity to get you all around.